The couple videos that I've done on my two properties that I have down in the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge area have gotten a few comments about how I am able to manage these from a long distance away, or do I use a property manager? How do I do it? And so I wanted to put together a video today about how I manage these remotely, because I do manage these myself. I don't use any type of property manager, and we do live about 250 miles away from all of our properties, but it's not like I can respond to every little problem like you could if you had a rental property that was right down the street or in the town over or whatever. Then I also wanted to address how much time that I have into these properties in any given week self-managing, because I know that that is a big issue for people and kind of a hang up that they think they're going to have to spend a lot of time managing these properties. And the things that I do are basically twofold. These are the two things that you're going to need to know to get started managing your own Airbnb properties remotely. And most people are remote from their Airbnb properties because a lot of these are in big time vacation markets that are for one, usually pretty high price real estate, and you may not want to live in that area because the real estate is inflated because they're all vacation areas. And B, you might just be tied to another area because of your job or family or whatever, and you want to invest in one of the hotter Airbnb markets like Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge, the Panhandle of Florida, Big Bear, California, Joshua Tree. Geographically, it just may not work out for you to be able to live close to where you want to invest. So again, you need two things. One is a team of people that is actually on the ground, that's local to your area, that knows the things about the place that you're going to invest in, knows what kind of business you're in, what the all the ins and outs and the what have yous of the particular Airbnb market that you're in. And then second, you need automation tools, because if you do work a full-time job, if you are involved in other investments such as long-term rental management, if you are just busy with kids and life, or you like to travel or whatever, you want to have as much of your systems automated so that you have to put in as little manual control over any given part of your system. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what I use to make sure that we do all of those things, and I spend the least amount of time making the most amount of money, and that's pretty much what this channel is all about. So if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up button for me, I will get into the team of folks that you need to get together in order to really get this going and be successful at remotely managing Airbnb properties. Now, when you're looking to build a team of folks, a lot of people think that they're going to have to get this giant team of people built around them before they can even start looking for Airbnb properties. And that's not correct, and it's really not going to work because you don't have a very good business pitch to a lot of these people. You know, if you get talking about your cleaners or your handymen or contractors or plumbers or whatever, if you come to them and say, you know, I would like for you to work for us either, you know, as an employee or as a contractor, but if you have none, your business proposition to them is pretty poor. They're not going to want to just go out on a limb and be like, yeah, we'll work for you, and you have nothing for us to do right now. So what you do is you start with one and you work your way down the list as you need them. The best part is that these people are local to the area, so they will have a network of people that they know that they can refer you to. The very first person that you need to get in touch with is a realtor in that area. They are going to be your first boots on the ground. They are going to know the real estate market there. They are going to know contractors, lenders, inspectors, appraisers, everything that you need to know in order to find and get control of the building that you want to buy. Now, you're gonna have to look in whatever area that you're interested in, but if you're interested in the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge area, if you're interested in the Panhandle of Florida and Orlando and several other areas around the United States, I highly recommend the Short-Term Shop group. And these folks are everyday investors. They started buying short-term rentals several years ago, and then they just decided that they wanted to start a real estate short-term agency, and that's all they deal with is short-term rentals. And they've recently launched their own lending agency as well, which is great for short-term rentals. They know exactly what you guys are going to be doing. But if you're not one of those areas, talk to your realtor that can recommend you a lender. The lender is the second person on your list if you need to take a loan to purchase your Airbnb properties. Now, I always recommend using leverage for real estate transactions. It allows your money to go farther. It allows you to scale much quicker. And in the particular market that you're in, lenders will know what the timeframes are, what the appraisal environment is like, because I used an out-of-state lender for my first Airbnb property, and there were some problems getting everything done on time. The second Airbnb property I bought, I used an in-state lender that was familiar with the operation that I was doing, was recommended by my realtor, and everything went extremely smoothly, and there was hardly any problems at all. The third thing that you guys are going to need on your team, you might need home inspectors, and you might need minor repair people and such when you're closing the home, when you're purchasing the property, but you probably won't need a lot of those people long term. So those are ones you can get recommendations from your realtor, but won't necessarily be on your core team of people. But the third thing that you guys need to do, once you've secured this property, you've closed on it, you need to find a cleaner. And this is, from this point forward, your most important people on the ground. These are going to be your day-to-day eyes and ears. They are going to make or break your Airbnb business, because for one, they're going to be able to report anything that's going wrong with the property, any damages that guests have left, pretty much anything. But most importantly, they're going to be solely in charge of making sure that your property is neat and tidy, which is one of the highest things that people are going to be looking for when they stay in your properties. When you find a good cleaner that shows up on time, is finished on time, does an excellent job, is reasonably priced. When you find a good one, you pay them well, you pay them promptly, you treat them like gold, because they are the most important people in your team from this point going forward. Now, another important person to have on your team is a handyman, because your cleaners a lot of times will be able to take care of a lot of your minor maintenance issues: batteries, light bulbs, air filters in your furnaces, water filters if you're on a well or something like that. And some other light maintenance tasks. But the handyman can then perform the things that are between your cleaners and a general contractor or a specific trade type of person. And so you're going to want to have a good working relationship with a handyman or with a couple handymen, because they might be busy. In the market I'm in, they're extremely busy. So I have two that I typically work with, and usually one can get to me extremely fast and get my stuff done. A lot of times your cleaners will be able to recommend these people to you. These are the people that are going to take care of the things that are a little bit higher up on the list, like hot tub repairs, minor plumbing repairs, fixing things, deck rails, things of that nature that might take a little bit more time than a cleaner can or is willing to put into it. Beyond that, you may need a contractor here and there. A lot of times your handyman can recommend those people to you. Sometimes your cleaners and your realtors can recommend handymen or general contractors, individual trades. But one of the best places to get recommendations for these are on Facebook groups. Typically, every market is going to have some sort of owners group. I'm in the Chalet Village, or the Chalet
Today, Junior!
Cabin Owners of Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge. I'm also in the Short Term Shop Facebook group, which is a fantastic Facebook group. I encourage you to look them up if you're in the short-term rental space. And they will be able to, you'll be able to network with actual owners and be able to get recommendations of people that have done work successfully, on time, on budget, etc. And that is a tremendous resource for anyone that's in one of these markets, especially if you're working remotely and can't vet these people in person. So that is your team of people. You got your realtor, your lender, your cleaners, and your handyman, and then some ancillary folks that you don't need on an everyday basis. And then your Facebook groups where you can network with these other owners to get solutions to problems that are probably common in your markets. So after that, I want to talk about automation, because that is going to be the way that you are able to run this remotely and stay sane and make sure that everything is taken care of. And we're going to get to that right now. So guest messages, scheduling cleaners, making sure things are done on your task list. These are the things that people are going to fret about taking up a lot of time and a lot of energy for them to manage all of these items, all of these requests, all these messages and tasks that need to be done. And this is where automation comes in, because you're going to list your Airbnb properties. Obviously on Airbnb, you're going to, I would recommend list them on VRBO as well, because get the most exposure that you can for your properties to maximize your returns. You can even list them on direct booking websites, other websites that are less known as Airbnb and VRBO, but definitely on those two so that you get a tremendous amount of exposure from those platforms, and they will even advertise your properties. I see mine on my Facebook feeds and Facebook ads all the time that I don't have to pay for because, you know, they make a percentage, so the better that you do, the better that they do. So you're going to need a piece of software that's going to sync those two calendars and all of the tasks and messages that's coming through. And this is your property management software. Now these are things like Guestly, Hospitable, OwnerRez, things of that nature. There's a whole bunch of them, but I think that those are probably the three most popular. And what that does is it automatically syncs the calendar of VRBO to Airbnb and Airbnb to VRBO instantly so that you don't end up getting double bookings or any kind of conflict in your reservations. But more importantly, they take care of all your messaging on an automatic basis. What you can do is go in and set up automatic messages for your guests. For example, inquiry request, automatic message. Check-in instructions, you can check on the guests automatically. You can do check-out instructions. You can ask for reviews automatically. And the way that most of these softwares work is that they will even customize it so that it'll put the guest name in, it will put the property's individual name in, it will put the city that the property is in the message automatically so that they look like they're coming from you, and you can customize them for each individual property. You can customize almost anything you want in these things so that they automatically send these messages out. And if we have a guest that doesn't have a lot of questions, they just want to book the place, stay there, they don't want to talk to me and leave, we can have a complete reservation from booking to payment to checkout without ever physically having to get on our phones and type a message. It's just done automatically. In addition to that, you can set up special things in here besides just your typical check-in, check-out instructions. You can have, especially on Hospitable, which is the one I'm most familiar with and I highly recommend, it will detect things in their messages. For example, lots of folks ask for early check-ins, and I have no problem with early check-ins as long as the cleaners have the place clean. I'm not going to rush my cleaners to get any place clean because these are the most important people on the ground, and they will, as long as they're done by 4 p.m., which is our normal check-in time, I'm good to go. So what they will say is the guest will write, we're coming from XYZ place and we might get there at 1 o'clock p.m. Is there any way we can have an early check-in? The software will pick that up. It will be able to read that and say, this person is asking for early check-in. We have an automatic message already pre-built for that, and it includes their name, the property, and it looks like it comes from us, but it is strictly driven by the computer. And it says essentially, we would be happy to accommodate an early check-in if the property is available. The normal time is 4 p.m., but you just shoot us a message and we'll let you know if the property is available. And this is one of the few times where we may have to communicate with the guests because they'll say, hey, we're in town. Is the place available like you said? And I'll say, yes it is, or no it's not, because the cleaner will either be there and done and I've paid them, or they won't be. That kind of stuff takes care of a lot of the messaging and a lot of the interaction with guests that you may think is going to take up a lot of your time. Now another thing that you may think might take up a lot of time is scheduling those cleaners to make sure that they are there when they're supposed to be and get done on time. This is another thing that these property management softwares take care of for me, for you. And what I have mine do is I send my cleaner a link where they can get into my calendar and they can see exactly when the reservations are. They can look for the entire year if they want to, look directly into my Hospitable calendar and know exactly when people are coming and going. I also have Hospitable set up to send a new email notification to my cleaners that says that a new reservation has been made, and it gives the start date, the end date, how many people, the property location, and just because these people are out doing a bunch of different cabins, not just for us, but for probably 4, 5, 6 different owners. It will also send notifications if a reservation is canceled or if it is modified. So it's essentially hands off on my part from scheduling of the cleaners unless they have a specific problem, then they just message me and we work it out, and it's not a big deal. There is some time that needs to be spent on that, and there's some human element, but for the most part it's minimized by these property management services. With the age of the internet, you can do so many things remotely. For example, if you want to keep an eye on your property, you want to look at your cameras that you have on your property, which I don't recommend when the guests are there because it will drive you nuts watching them, making sure they're not bringing pets in or whatever. I have one camera on the front of each one of our buildings just so I can check on the places as far as if there's storm damage, if I just want to look at my gorgeous vacation homes while I'm sitting at work wishing that I was there. Or for whatever reason, I want to see if the leaves are changing, if people are asking me if now is a good time to see the colors change, if there's snow, whatever. That is what I use the cameras for. You can just look at it directly from the internet from anywhere in the world. Another great thing is to have Wi-Fi connected thermostats, and especially ones with limits, so that you can check to make sure that your guests aren't setting the heat crazy hot in the winter, the air crazy cold in the summer, making sure that it's not set, that the heat is not set to emergency heat when it should be set to regular heat, because it's like 7 to 10 times more expensive, and minimizing costs is always something you're going to be looking for in real estate. All of these things are ways that you can manage your short-term rentals or even long-term rentals really remotely from pretty much anywhere in the world with using a minimum amount of time and money, and pretty much anyone can do it. Believe me, if I can do it, I know out there that you all can do it as well. So that's how I manage my Airbnb business remotely with a minimum amount of time commitment on my part, and I make thousands and thousands of dollars a month doing it this way by creating a team of folks on the ground that are rock stars that get the job done every time without me having to babysit them, and through the wonderful thing called the internet and automation systems that are readily available. They're low cost. We even use systems to automate our dynamic pricing on the back end of this, so that we make sure that we are getting as much money out of these investments as we possibly can. It's crazy what you can do on the internet these days, good and bad. But in this case, this is an awesome way for you to invest in properties, invest in markets that are not local to you, that have extremely high cash flows, extremely high rates of appreciation, and you do not have to be physically present or spend a lot of time doing it. Guys, if you like this, you got something out of it, give me a big thumbs up down there. Hit that thumbs up button, really helps me out in the YouTube algorithm. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Be sure to hit the notification bell. If you guys want to see more stuff on Airbnb business, how to look for Airbnb homes, how to run them, anything about Airbnb, give me a comment down below, because I don't get a whole lot of views on my Airbnb content. So if you want more of this, let me know. I appreciate you guys watching today, and I'll see you in the next.